All right. Good evening, everyone. It is after 6:30 on Tuesday, June 29th, 2021. So we have gotten our first look at the ranked choice voting in the New York City election for the primary that happened last week on June 22nd. We've gotten our first look at the ranked choice unofficial results. Now, the reason why this is unofficial is because today, the Board of Elections is now authorized to take a look at absentee ballots. So, they're taking a look at it today, but we'll have more clarity on the final results within the next week or two. So, if you're looking at the calendar of events, if everything goes the way it's supposed to, we may have the final result 2 weeks from today, which would be Tuesday, July 13th. So, before we get into that, I want to acknowledge a city council race that happened in the 32nd District in Queens. Didn't bring that up, but I will get to it right now. So, I want to bring up the 32nd District, and this was a very important one because the former head of the Queens GOP, Joanne Arola, who also runs a couple civic groups in Howard Beach and Ozone Park, she won her primary, so she moves on to the main election. As far as the Democrat in that race, I just want to take a look at it before we get to what we really want to focus on today, and that is figuring out where we go from there. So I'm just double checking. Hang on here. City Council. Yes, 32nd. So let me go back to that. City Council. In that race, we are looking at very competitive with Felicia Singh ahead by 2 points against Michael Scala. We don't have any confirmed look at City Council races, but we may get that maybe later tonight. So I may have to do a second video if any City Council updates come through. But we've only gotten a look at mayor, and public advocate, and controller. Now, we're not going to go to the Republican side of things because we know Curtis Lewa won last week. So Curtis Lewa, don't worry about him for now. He will be doing his own thing, and a lot of other Republicans have pretty much sealed their fate at the moment. So we're just waiting to hear from the 50th District of Staten Island, which is still a very competitive race, and we're still waiting to hear about Staten Island Borough President. So now we move on to the race for mayor. Now, we have our first look at ranked choice voting. As you can see here, we're going to take a look at all the rounds. All of them. So we want to take a look at each round very carefully. So Eric Adams in the first round got 28.8%. Maya Wiley got 19%. Kathryn Garcia got 17%. Now we move on to round 2. Nothing noticeable here. Then we move on to round 3, where Eric Adams in round 3 increases his lead. Then we go to round 4. Now remember, this is without absentee ballots. The absentees still need to be counted next week. So we have Eric Adams right here. Huge lead. Then we have Adams gaining 30% in the 5th round. We go to the 6th round. Nothing really changes. Round 7, nothing changes. Round 8, so on and so on. But this is where it gets interesting in round 8. So as you can see here, a lot of eliminations start taking place around, I would say, let's go back to round 3 for an example. So around round 3, you notice a lot of eliminations happen. It's quite obvious. Even round 3. So let's go to round 8. This is where things get interesting. We get to round 9, coming up, and you can see that Scott Stringer and everybody else gets eliminated. So you got a 4-person race. Then you go to round 10. And this is where things get very interesting. You notice in round 9 that Kat Garcia is 3 points behind Maya Wiley. Then we go to Eric Adams and Kathryn Garcia. Now, let's get into an important fact here. Channel 4, 2 weeks ago, predicted that it was going to be a 2-person race between Eric Adams and Kathryn Garcia. So, as you can see there, Kat Garcia takes the lead in second place. Then we get to the last round. The last round is very important because round 10 things get interesting. Once you get to round 11, the last final choice, because in ranked choice you have to get 50% in order to cross the finish line, Eric Adams gets 51% of the vote. Kathryn Garcia gets 48.9% of the vote. So, what goes on here is you have a 2-person race now between the Brooklyn Borough President and the former head of the sanitation department. So now, things get interesting. Because, as I said, there's a possibility that July 13th, we will know for sure who the winner will be, depending on this calendar Board of Elections is claiming. But there's a possibility, you never know, that things get certified next week. It just depends where the absentees are. Alright, now we're going to go to the race for public advocate, and a huge development. As to be expected, Humani Williams is the winner right now. We're still waiting to hear if a Republican is going to be the nominee. I haven't heard anything about that yet, but there could be a possibility you have a system of checks and balances, and it has happened in the Giuliani years. So you have a Democrat public advocate, Republican mayor, and it's happened before, but you know, that's how things have ended up. Now let's go to the race for controller, where we actually know that there will be a Republican running in the race. I forget what his name is right now, but Curtis Lewa has supported him. That's the main takeaway from there. But I want to mention how things have gotten interesting for the far left candidate Brad Lander, who was endorsed by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You have Corey Johnson, the current Speaker of the City Council. Now, the reason why I've been focused on this race is because David Reprin, who I know very well, is a state assemblyman, and he ran for Congress a couple years ago, actually 10 years ago when you think about it, against Bob Turner, who won my district, my old district, before it got reseeded. But I was interested to see how David Reprin would do. Apparently, let's take a look and see how he did, because I'm only focusing on him at the moment. So what round does he get eliminated in? I'm just taking a look. Okay. And it was a very competitive race. I'll just mention that. There were a lot of campaign ads. I believe it's going to be round 8. I have a good feeling he got eliminated in round 8. Let's see. Yeah, round 8. There goes David Reprin. Bye-bye. Michelle Caruso Cabrera actually was gaining some momentum in the early rounds, but when we get to round 9, that's where things get interesting. There she goes. Once we get to round 10, Brad Lander pulls off a political upset against Corey Johnson, who Corey Johnson was favored to win the race, but somehow later on Brad Lander got lucky and he might become controller. There's a decent possibility it could happen. So those are our looks of how things are at the moment. I'm sorry if I slurred up there for a second. It's just that looking at these numbers gives you kind of a headache in a sense, but I will say that the race for mayor has become clear, and I will give Channel 4 a lot of credit. They got the mayor's race correct. They knew it was going to be Garcia and Adams who would be the last two, and now it's just a wait-and-see process. Now we just have to wait this out an additional 2 more weeks, but it could go either way. It could go Garcia. It could go Adams. We will only have to wait and find out. So, with that, I'm going to wrap this up. So thank you all very much for watching. Stay tuned for more updates because I will try my best to stay on top of everything, which I'm pretty sure I can. Especially because I knew today was Tuesday and I was expecting results today. So, now we wait this out and see if Eric Adams or Kathryn Garcia will be taking on Curtis Sliwa in the general election. So, thank you all for watching, and until the next one, please take care.